Does love always feel tender, or can it sometimes feel like a trap? Let's delve into this complex question together. We're on a journey to comprehend the intricate world of narcissistic men who express their affection through physical touch. It's a world that's not always as it seems, where actions that appear tender and caring can sometimes hide a darker intent. Physical touch is a powerful language of love. It can create a bond of intimacy like no other, grounding us, making us feel seen, cherished. But what happens when this beautiful language is twisted, used as a tool for control and manipulation? In the hands of a narcissist, affectionate touch can morph into something quite different. It can become a tool, a weapon, used to manipulate emotions, blur boundaries, and exert control. A narcissist's touch can be intoxicating, creating an illusion of love and care. But beneath the surface, this touch can become a leash, subtly pulling you towards their needs and desires, away from your own. It's a complex dance, one that can leave you feeling confused, questioning the very nature of love itself. Narcissistic individuals are often masters of this dance. They use physical touch to create a world where they are the sun and you are merely a planet in their orbit. You may find yourself drawn in, captivated by their charm, their charisma. But it's crucial to remember that real love isn't about control. It's not about manipulation or power. It's about respect, understanding, and mutual support. So how do you navigate this tactile trap? The first step is awareness. Understanding the signs, the red flags, can provide a map, a guide to help you find your way. It's not always easy. It can be a journey filled with challenges. But remember, you are not alone. There's strength in knowledge, power in understanding. Remember, love should never feel like a prison, but a place of safety and respect. As we peel back the layers of the narcissist's touch, we'll arm ourselves with the tools to recognize control for what it is, to establish and enforce our boundaries, and to reclaim our autonomy. Because love should always be a choice, not a trap. Ever felt uncomfortable with someone's touch but couldn't quite put a finger on why? You might be dealing with a narcissistic individual who uses physical closeness as a tool for control. Narcissists often have a knack for invading personal space, making you feel constantly on edge. This isn't about affection or connection, but rather a subtle assertion of dominance. Imagine you're in a social setting, and there's this one person who always seems to be too close for comfort. They might drape an arm around your shoulders, touch your arm during a conversation, or even invade your personal space without any physical contact at all. Just standing too close, making you feel trapped. These actions, while seemingly harmless, can be a narcissist's way of asserting control, making you feel small and powerless. At home, the invasion of space can become even more pronounced. You might find them always in your vicinity, even when you're engaged in private activities. They might barge into your room without knocking, or insist on being in the bathroom with you. This isn't about intimacy, it's about control. It's about demonstrating that your space, your sanctuary, is not your own when they're around. Narcissists often justify these invasions with expressions of affection. "I just wanted to be close to you," they might say, or "I didn't think you'd mind." But remember, this isn't about love. It's about control. It's about establishing dominance and making sure you feel it. These invasions of personal space can leave you feeling uncomfortable, anxious, and invaded. But it's important to remember that this is exactly what the narcissist wants. They thrive on your discomfort, using it as a tool to manipulate and control. So how do you respond? The first step is to recognize what's happening. Understand that this is not normal behavior, and you have every right to feel uncomfortable. Don't let them gaslight you into thinking it's all in your head. Your personal space is sacred, and any intrusion should never be taken lightly. Ever felt like someone's touch was a reward, or worse, a punishment? Let's dive into the murky waters of the narcissist's reward system. This is a subtle yet powerful tactic used by narcissists to maintain control and keep their partners in an emotional chokehold. It's important to recognize that a narcissist's touch isn't just about physical contact. It's a manipulative tool, a carrot and stick, used to create a cycle of emotional dependency. Imagine a scenario where you've done something that pleases the narcissist. Their response? A warm hug, a tender kiss, or a loving touch, a reward. It feels good, right? It's supposed to. This is how they condition you to seek their approval, to crave their affection. But remember, it's not about genuine love or admiration. It's a control mechanism, a way to manipulate your emotions and keep you tethered. Now let's flip the coin. What happens when you don't live up to their expectations or when you assert your independence? The affection dries up. The touch you've grown accustomed to is suddenly withdrawn, leaving you in a state of emotional deprivation, yearning for that physical connection to return. This is the punishment, a cold, calculated maneuver to keep you under their thumb. So, what are the red flags to look out for? Pay attention to the patterns. Is the affectionate touch only present when you've done something that pleases them? Does it disappear when you assert your boundaries or express your own needs and desires? This conditional affection is a clear sign of manipulation. Remember, everyone deserves to be loved and respected for who they are, not for what they do or don't do. Your worth is not tied to someone else's approval or disapproval. Affection is not a commodity to be traded, but a genuine expression of love and respect. It should bring joy, not anxiety. It should empower, not diminish. Affection should never be conditional. It should be a genuine expression of love and respect. Ever felt the need to protect your space but didn't know how? Let's delve into this topic and empower ourselves with the knowledge to establish and enforce clear boundaries, safeguarding our physical and emotional well-being. Now you might ask, why are boundaries so important? Well, think of them as your personal shield against control. They are the invisible lines we draw around ourselves to maintain our comfort, safety, and overall mental health. When dealing with a narcissist who uses physical touch as a tool for manipulation, these boundaries become even more crucial. To them, your boundaries could be seen as a challenge, a game to be won. But don't be swayed, because your boundaries are your right, and it's okay to assert them. So how do we set these boundaries? Start by recognizing your comfort levels. Listen to your inner voice, that gut feeling that tells you when something doesn't feel right. That's your first line of defense. Next, communicate these boundaries clearly. Remember, it's not just about what you say, but how you say it. Be firm, yet respectful. Use I statements to express your feelings, like, I feel uncomfortable when. It's also important to be consistent. If you set a boundary, stick to it. Don't allow exceptions, because that's when the lines begin to blur. Now, enforcing these boundaries might not be easy. You might face resistance, even backlash. But remember, you're not responsible for someone else's reaction to your boundaries. You're only responsible for establishing and maintaining them. And what if these boundaries are repeatedly crossed? Well, it might be time to reconsider your relationship with the person. After all, a relationship that doesn't respect your boundaries is a relationship that doesn't respect you. But don't fret. Setting boundaries is a process, a journey. It takes time, patience, and above all, courage. But once you start, you'll find yourself moving away from manipulation and control, towards a life of self-respect and empowerment. Remember, setting boundaries isn't about pushing people away, but about respecting your own needs and space. Ever felt unsure about your right to say no to someone's touch? It's a question that many of us have grappled with at some point. It's especially tricky when dealing with a narcissist, whose touch can often be a tool for control. Here we'll be shining a light on the importance of consent and autonomy within relationships, and how understanding and asserting your rights can help navigate the complexities of physical intimacy with a narcissist. Consent is not just a word. It's a conversation, a continual dialogue that respects and upholds personal boundaries. It's about understanding that you have the absolute right to decide who gets to enter your personal space and how. It's about reclaiming your autonomy, your power over your own body, and your right to choose what feels comfortable for you. Now, this is where it gets tricky with narcissists. They might use their touch as a means to control, to create a sense of obligation or guilt, to manipulate emotions and boundaries. But remember, no one has the right to touch you without your explicit consent, not even someone who claims to care for you or love you. In navigating the complexities of physical intimacy with a narcissist, it's crucial to remember that consent is the foundation of trust. It's about communicating your boundaries clearly, consistently, and assertively. It's about standing your ground, even when someone tries to blur the lines or push your boundaries. It's about understanding that your worth does not depend on someone else's validation, and that you have the right to feel safe and respected in your relationships. Navigating a relationship with a narcissist can be difficult and emotionally draining. But by understanding the importance of consent and asserting your rights, you can protect yourself from potential manipulation and control. It's not about living in fear, but about empowering yourself with knowledge and tools to safeguard your well-being. Remember, consent isn't just about saying no, it's about having the freedom to say yes on your own terms.